Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season Recap, the show where we take a look back at the season gone by and analyze every team on the grid by their good and their bad. Today, we're gonna be taking a look at the team that ended ninth in the Constructors' Championship with 28 points, Haas, the US based team. This season has certainly been one to forget for a few teams, but none other more than Haas. After fighting for fourth in the 2018 championship, expectations were high for the Americans, plus having retained controversial but effective driver pair of Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen ensured no infighting and a stable team structure. This was supposed to be a positive year and hopefully a lunge forward and away from the midfield. Well, at least that's what they hoped. With an all-new design reminiscent of Lotus of old, and new to welcome new title sponsor Rich Energy, it all seemed to be going well for Haas. Preseason testing came and went, and with that some solid performances. It was expected to be a strong season for the team, with hints of them leading the midfield. On to Australia then, where they did in fact lead the midfield. Qualifying P6 and P7, it wasn't as good as last year, but it looked to be a good weekend for Haas, up until the pit stops. With an unfortunate repeat of last year, we saw Haas releasing Romain Grosjean with a badly fitted tire, leading to his DNF, but with a good result from his teammate meant that they scored the best of the rest and were leading the midfield battle. But a tightly congested midfield led to mediocre results following, not scoring points up until the Spanish Grand Prix, with a 7th place for Magnussen and a single point from the French the following race. And then the problems started, not so much for the team but their maiden sponsor, with a lost lawsuit over a use of a copyrighted logo and a failure to comply by it. It started to show cracks on the shell of the uneasy British energy drink company. Meanwhile, back at the racetrack, something was off. You would see the Haas cars in front of their rivals in qualifying, but they started falling back on the races, sometimes ending up in the wall as a consequence of pushing too hard. At the beginning, it was a complete mystery, and we would either think it was a strategy error or some tire issue, but what was to come no one could quite fathom. This season, every time the Haas team seemed to get a bit of a break, something new happened. This time it was again concerning their title sponsor, which in what looked like a hack announced via Twitter that they would be dropping the team due to lack of performance, which was quickly backtracked by Rich Energy CEO William Story, saying that it was posted by a rogue employee and that he had been terminated from the company. A few weeks later, after failure to comply about the lost lawsuit, the stakeholders took the internal decision to fire Story, to cut their losses and diminish controversies, to what he responded as it being a cue against him. Okay, now back to the racing. Over the next few races, the pace would come in bursts and then leave completely, leaving the car with semi-good qualifying pace but horrid race pace, with inconsistencies and no clear pattern of what was going on. And by the German Grand Prix, on the garage there were two different cars, the current spec and an old Melbourne spec. This strategy was devised so that they could compare the pace of both cars and see where the strong and weak points lied. But after a hectic German Grand Prix giving them their best season result of P7 and P8, and the races after ending up with either of the two drivers not finishing or what seemed like every race, it wasn't as easy to make this comparison. After a few more grueling races, they came to the conclusion that neither car was good enough, so they tried to make a hybrid of them, in what ended up being a minor step up but with no clear clues of progress. By mid-September, the time of the Hungarian Grand Prix, it was confirmed, after lots of controversy and a lack of professionalism, the Team Haas was to terminate the deal with its title sponsor, citing violation of the terms and therefore breach of contract, and would immediately drop the now renamed Lightning Bolt sponsorship from the car and the team. And that concludes half the story. Haas would go on to score 2 more points in the remaining 11 races, ending what was definitely been the worst season for the American team so far, and with hopes from fans and team members alike that this never happens again.